Right guys, I'm Dan for Freeland where I'm living. I'm out here to do a little bit of solo hammock overnight camping. Been walking around through my spot, so I'm going to set up camp. Let's get into it. So now that I'm out here, got my site picked out. One of the good things about hammock camping is that you're not quite as limited by the ground as opposed to tent camping and bivvy camping and stuff like that. So I can go on this kind of slightly more sloped area as long as I've got some nice straight trees which I've got here to hang the hammock and the tarp from. So there is some flat area. I have to do a wee bit of cooking and stuff like that, which I'll need to do later. But obviously now I'm here, the first thing I need to do is get my camp set up. I think one of the most important things when you're doing that is to get your gear off the ground as quick as possible. Normally I would just hang it for a branch, but there's not really any suitable ones around here. So it's just a quick little trick, a lot of people already know it. I went and sawed off this branch that has this kind of tick shape at the bottom. What I'm going to do is just put a couple of V notches in here, just kind of at the top there. Then I'll put one further down as well. And then what I can do with this, really simple, I can just lash that straight to a tree. And that provides a nice little hook to put my bag on. I use enough rope, I use strong enough rope, it's just as strong as a branch. So I'm going to get my bag set up. I've got a 40 litre backpack there. It's mostly actually filled with my camera gear and my sleeping bag. I've got my hammock and stuff on the side. So I'm going to get that hung up, see if it's stringing up the tarp. I'll probably put my hammock up later and then just clear the ground, get some firewood going and stuff like that. Right, that's the bag string up now. I got it slightly lower down on the tree, but you can see how that works, really simple. Now I'm going to pop up the tarp between this tree here and this one over here. Get that ridge line up first, get it nice and taut, nice and straight, and then see what kind of space I'm working with under the tarp. I'm worried that the sky's going to open up a wee bit, so that's why I'm doing the tarp first. Normally I'd like to clear the ground so I've got a nice working area. I'm going to get that tarp up first, make sure I didn't get rained on, and then probably see about cooking up some lunch, maybe getting a coffee on the go or something. Cracking day out today though. Brisk, nice Scottish day. Right, let's get on with it. Right, I got my tarp partially up in the background, but I need to throw together some pegs. It's pretty simple though. Just going to take one of them, sharpen the end off. You don't want it too sharp. Just going into the ground. I'm going to mushroom this end, so that's just kind of rounding it off at the top. No, sorry, I'm not going to mushroom it. I'm going to round it off to stop it mushrooming. So mushrooming is when you're hitting it in, batting it into the ground, and it all just starts to split and fall apart. If you round the top off, it's much less likely to do that. The way I'm going to make the actual little knock for putting the guy lines in, I'm going to do a little X cut or a cross cut. So I'm going to take the branch, take my knife, place it, press it in, marking a little X, a little line, do another one going across the opposite way, 90 degrees, and then just doing it like a stop cut and marking it, cutting it in up to these points. So a really easy cut but really useful. A wee bit deeper. There we go. So as you'll be able to see now, hopefully, it's left me with a little stop cut, but it's got a point on it. That's perfect for tying rope around. I like to just take the point off it slightly, so it's slightly more rounded when I'm using it with rope. That's brilliant for tying rope around, or even if you make it deeper, it's good for hanging pots and stuff like that. You can make cuts and sticks that are the opposite, so the V's going in the way, and then you can use that to attach two sticks to hang them together. So a really useful cut. Good one to kind of have in your repertoire when you're out here. So I'm going to do another 3 of these, maybe get 5 or 6 actually, just in case. Get this final little pegged out, get it nice and tight, keep some of the wind and stuff off. I'm actually considering moving my tarp so it's slightly longer on this side, and the side facing the slope, but I'm not quite sure yet. Maybe think about that in a wee touch. You can hear some shotgun in the background. So this is where the majority of the space in my pack went. I decided to opt for a 3-season sleeping bag tonight. It's an off-ridge one, it's pretty good. So comfort is about -5, with the extreme limit being about -31. So get me through the night, no problem. It's not too heavy, it's just over 2 kilos. But I just take up a bit of space, that's no problem. This is brilliant for out in Scottish woods. I'm getting there. Right, so I went and collected some tinder. I managed to find some dry grass there. I got my little tinder pouch here. So I just need to dig through it, find what I'm looking for. There we are. So I've got my flint and a steel. It's going to be the basis of my fire. I like to use I keep a couple of bits of white cloth in here. It's good for setting stuff in situations like this where everything's dark. Makes it much easier to find. So I'm going to use some amadou for this, a wee bit of birch bark along with that. So I'm going to take my birch bark first. I'm just going to scratch it up, get some nice kind of fibrous bits going around there, so I can drop my ember on that. I'm going to use a fairly big piece of amadou this time. Take it off of here. Just because I am worried about how damp everything is. I want to make sure this ember can last. Now when you're using this, I've already prepared this, so I've cut off the tree, I've harvested out the bit that we can really use for catching the spark, and then I've boiled it for a couple of hours in an old pot with some wood ash in it. Kind of sit in that charred material, makes it a lot easier to light. But the real trick, you don't need to do any of that. You can find it fresh, and then it's just getting it nice and fibrous. It's those fibres that we need to actually catch the spark. So I just like to take my edge and really carefully run it over the top and use it to kind of pull up all these bits of fibres, and you'll see it turning really soft and cottony quite quickly. And that's what you're looking for to catch that spark. Now the wind is also starting to pick up at the moment, which so that can be a problem. I just scratch some of that to the end. Make sure the edge of it is nice and fibrous as well, because in all likelihood that might be where the spark actually lands. So it's going to be the closest point. There you go, a nice spongy, cottony piece of Amadou. Finish using my knife so that goes back in my belt. It's either on your belt or in your hand, that's always the rules. Start on fire like that. If the Amadou doesn't catch, I do have some char cloth in here, which is supposed to be wrapped up, but it's obviously came out. Got some wee bits, got some fat wood here as well, which I might get some scrapings off. So I'm just going to take the spine of my knife and run it up and down it. Get some of that fine shavings and just try and get onto that wee piece of bark. So I'll collect it all up before I actually light it. The key in fire lighting is always to be prepared. Get everything ready so that when that ember does appear, you get straight in. Going to take some of this. Just make a little bird's nest. I'm going to pop that right in there. Okay, we didn't want to put this on the ground to avoid that getting wet as much as possible. And I'm just going to take my Amadou, take that nice fluffy piece and put it right on the edge there of that flint. And then I just take the back of my striker and I strike it against the flint. I'll show you that first. Strike it against the flint, get some nice sparks. Hopefully that shows up on the camera. Then we just catch that, hopefully, on the Amadou, get that coal and work it into our fire. The sparks kind of do what they want. Right, we've got our ember in there. We want to sandwich it in. The thicker the smoke gets, the closer you are to that fire. Here we are. Oh, happens quick. So, sun's going to give it on us soon, so we'll get a wee look at our food. Going to make a coffee first. Let's see about grabbing something to eat. So I've got a pretty basic ration pack in here. I've got one of these Ministry of Defence 24-hour rations, but I cut it down quite a bit because that was way too much food in there for a one-nighter for me. So I've got some of these sesame bars, a yoghurt, some Tabasco, some peanuts. Got myself some cheese spread. Not really getting to put that on though, so I never thought that through. Some hot chocolate, orange flavoured hot chocolate. And for my dinner I've got a Moroccan style bean stew, so I'm just going to boil that up in there essentially. But firstly I do want a coffee, so that's my coffee brewed and that's dinner on. See how long that takes, probably not too long. So welcome to the first in a hopefully long line of videos on my new channel. This isn't quite what I wanted to do for my first video. I was going to do some sort of primitive trapping, looking at trapping techniques, where you set them in that sort of game they'd be going for in Scotland. I can't actually catch game, I don't have a trapper's licence or anything like that, it's quite sophisticated. I was going to look at some of the more traditional methods. So the kind of area of bushcraft that I'm really interested in is that primitive Scottish bushcraft. When I say primitive, I'm looking at the kind of between the 13th and 18th century Scotland. Really, I love kind of the Jacobites in that era in time in Scotland, pre-Highland clearances anyway. So I love looking at the way those guys lived, you know, how they treated the outdoors, how they worked in outdoors and how they got through it. It would have been a vastly different climate back then. But that's really the stuff I want to bring to this channel, is looking at that predominantly 18th century Scotland and what would have been done then, how would they have lived, and the kind of knowledge that they have then that we've really not been passing down to our children, stuff like that. I really want to bring that out. So if you're interested in that, maybe keep an eye on the channel, see what else pops up. This is much more modern bushcraft we're doing today, if you can even call it that. It's just a simple overnighter in the hammock, grab some food and hike out the moor. But that's dinner nearly done. It's actually starting to get dark here, so it's only about 4 o'clock and we're really starting to lose the light. So soon I'm going to curl up in there, just read a book for a bit, wait for it to get a wee bit darker, head to sleep, get up nice and early tomorrow. I want to go out, see if I can spot any nice game animals, look for some pheasants and stuff like that. I just see what's about, just to watch them. I've got my binoculars with me. I think that's one of the most important things of being in the outdoors, is actually being in the outdoors. Have a look around, see what you can see. Look at stuff here you're not going to see in the city, in the villages and towns. I think that's one of the things that's missed a lot of time nowadays with guys that go into the woods. They're set on going in and doing something specific. You know, they're building a shelter, or they're doing some woodwork, woodcraft and stuff like that. I don't know, they're maybe hunting or doing a catch and cook. That's pretty popular now, stuff like that. And I think a lot of people just don't take the time to appreciate the woods and what's there. I scared a couple of what looked like hares when I was coming into this spot, and a few deer I spooked as well. So I'm hoping that once the fire's out and stuff and I've ate and it's a bit quieter earlier, I might see stuff like that. I think that's the magic of the outdoors. Is seeing stuff you're not going to see when you're not here. But I'm going to get this cooked up. We'll see you in a bit. Right, further coffee. Had a quite quick bite to eat for lunch. Let's go and see if we can now bag us some game, which is the other part of the reason for being out here. Off we go. I heard some calling on the ridge line up here ahead of me, so we're going to go up, see if there's anything around. Sounds a little bit distant, so I've not got my hopes up, but fingers crossed we spot something. We'll get something in the bag for later. Oh, well, that's me back. The wee slingshot trip came up short. There was absolutely nothing around, but as you can probably tell by the video, it's starting to get really dark now. Probably only got about 15-30 minutes of sunlight left, so I'm going to change my trousers because I'm all manky, chuck on my thermals and get in bed. And I've got a book that I'm going to read kind of for the rest of the night with my head torch, and I've got a wee lantern there. Set that up, jump in bed, and that'll pretty much be me till tomorrow. Got a couple of snacks, wire into them, and see what happens tomorrow. Oh, so a game warden's just stumbled across me and advised me that there's actually going to be some late night shooting here tonight, and then some early shooting tomorrow. So I've agreed to just kind of pack up and head home tonight. I've still got enough light just to get my stuff packed away and get out. I've got my head torch and that just in case. Aye, so we're just going to do that, head back, and then I'm going to be coming early tomorrow morning and kind of finish up stuff I was planning to do. It's no problem, these things happen, it's just part of the woods, but I need to be quick to get all this stuff put away. There we go, so speediest pack up I've ever done, and we're on our way out. It's going to be dark by the time I get to the road and that, but it's not too long to walk home, and if not, I think my missus might come and pick me up. But it's just mainly getting out of this bit, because there's not actually really a track in here. It's like an old game track that the shotgun dudes and that use. Oh, nearly on theirs. So I'll get out of here, catch up with you guys closer to the gate or something. Right guys, so I went and made plans tomorrow, so I'm not going to be going back to the woods. So we're just going to end this episode here. You might not be able to see me either for the flash of the light or that it's just too dark. But it's been pretty much out of the park here. It's Country Park. And I've pretty much ended up at the road, so now I just got to walk along the road till I get back. Bit of a rubbish end to the journey, but can't be helped, I guess. And I look forward to the next video. Hopefully got a few more adventures to come. Catch you later.